Hello, I'm John Beckord from Forward Janesville. Today I have Bud Gayhart from the Center for Innovation and Business Development. Bud is the director there, and just so the viewers understand, the Center for Innovation and Business Development is sort of the umbrella for the Small Business Development Center and the Wisconsin Innovation Service Center, both based at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater.
That's correct.
Well, today, Bud, I wanted to talk about financial assistance. I talk to businesses every day, and the storyline, the narrative I hear lots of times is how difficult it is to get bank loans, and how confusing it is to look at the array of other financial sources,
Right.
Or sources for financial assistance. Perhaps you could share what your organization is doing, and perhaps offer some perspective to viewers who might be in that situation.
Be happy to, John. I mean, it certainly is a challenge, as you said. The difficult economy that we find ourselves in right now has added to that. The additional regulations from the federal side have oftentimes caused the lenders heartache, and as a result of that, it transfers down to the client, the business, who's looking for access to capital. Add to that the fact that the assets of the business may have actually gone down in value through no fault of the business. But if you think about it in terms of a business who may own property and a building and equipment, as the economy has collapsed, and we find ourselves in kind of a tight situation right now. We've seen a lot of businesses go out of business. As a result of that, there's a lot of used equipment on the marketplace. Well, that means that the used equipment value has caused the value of existing equipment employed by a company to be worth less money than it was before. So the balance sheet amount is probably going to show lesser value. That means from a lending standpoint, you've got less asset value to bring to the table. The building, because again, prices of real estate have backtracked a significant amount. The value of the property may be less. So when you're looking at pledging that asset as a guarantee for a loan, it's not worth as much as it was before. Sure. And again, no fault of the business, it's just the economy, and it's a challenge. But gaining access to markets or to capital markets certainly is a challenge for businesses. They need to grow and they need money. Growth sucks up money. If you think in terms of a business who may be expanding its markets and selling more product, oftentimes they need more inventory. Frequently they've got larger accounts receivable. Well, that sucks up cash because the customer hasn't paid for it yet.
Right.
Yet they're waiting for it, and they know that they're going to receive the money, but it's a timing thing. So they need to pay employees. They need to buy new products or access other resources in order to grow the business, and that really causes some challenges. So where do you go at that point? Well, there are a myriad of tools out there, and certainly a lot of businesses are familiar with them. There's traditional lending, and certainly they know what their credit line might be with their current lender. There's access to capital that could be in the form of SBA guaranteed loans. The SBA doesn't make loans, but the SBA guarantees loans through traditional lenders. So the bank that they're working with may have access to those SBA guaranteed loans. The SBA can guarantee, in some cases, 50% of the loan. In other cases, it could be 75% of the loan. And that allows the business to access capital that otherwise they may not be able to reach, because their lender would have a higher comfort level knowing that the SBA is picking up part of the guarantee, and the business wouldn't be on the hook for all of that. But it gives them some flexibility to lend. There are other tools that they might be able to access. In some communities, there could be what we call CDBG dollars, Community Development Block Grant dollars, oftentimes tied to a specific real estate address or locale. Very low interest, and I mean very low. I've seen some Community Development Block Grant loans near 0% interest. They're typically smaller amounts, and when I say smaller amounts, it could be up to $25,000. But it's another tool in smaller communities to access funds that otherwise may not be available. Revolving loan funds can be offered sometimes through economic development agencies in, again, different communities depending on the requirements or the constraints that they have and the access that they have. There's a move in the state to kind of pool some of those funds now, to aggregate monies from smaller communities together with those larger communities and make money available to the businesses who need it right now and could really have an impact on the region. So they're looking at it more from a regional perspective as opposed to a local perspective. And then there are other types of lenders. Micro loans are available. Typically, when we thought about microloans in the past, we used to think about loans up to $5,000. Well, $5,000 wouldn't help a great deal. The ceiling was moved some years ago to $25,000. It's been moved again, and microlenders now, in some cases, have the ability to loan up to $100,000.
Wow.
Well, that can be pretty significant. And one of those microlenders is the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation, WIBIC as we call it. But the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation initially was chartered to assist women-owned businesses because there was a feeling that women were at a disadvantage when it came to accessing traditional lending resources. So this was an organization that came into being more than 20 years ago and originally chartered just to provide loans to women-owned businesses. Well, over the years that has morphed as the lending amount has changed. They've also changed their charter, and now they can loan to businesses of any type and either gender. So that's another resource that might be available and could oftentimes be packaged with other types of loans to maybe be a bridge that brings a loan together where otherwise it might not be completed.
If a business person who's seeing this video is interested in learning more about these programs and maybe a consultation on what might be possible, who should they contact?
It would probably be best if they talk directly to me, and they could do that by calling my office, 262-472-1689. If I'm not in the office, certainly you can leave a message. I will get back to them.
Okay.
Within 24 hours, we can talk about where they're at right now and look at some of the options that are available. All of those discussions are confidential, so it's not like you're sharing information that could leak out somewhere. We understand the need for confidentiality, and we hold that as one of our mantras for operation.
All right. Thanks, Bud, for sharing this information and for all you do to help small business in the area.
Well, thank you, John.
You bet. Thank you for listening.